Alright, so this one will probably be a shorter episode of the devlog, but I did do something that's going to be pretty important later on. Alright, so what I did between this part and the last was, I basically, I added this button down here called bag. Um, I have dev mode enabled right now, as you can see, so I have all of the items in the game. Previously what you had to do is click P and L to switch 3 items. Um, and it was pretty slow. You still can, it's still down there, but there's a much better way to do it now. And these might get, like, the old way might be repurposed for like switching spells later between a certain selected number or something. But for now, you could just use these as they have been working. But the bag button, this is new. Um, so as you can see here, it shows me every item that I have, spells and weapons. It could show up to 64, but I'll probably, like, once I add enough items to where you can actually fill that up, I'll add a page system so you could, like, click a button to go to the next page. Anyways, so if I click on a weapon, you can see a preview pops up. You get to see the sword icon, some basic stats, so not all the stats are implemented yet. There'll probably be spell power eventually at some point, so there are some blank spaces, of course. After a cooldown timer, there will probably be another stat or like room for extra stuff, so I'm not worried about running out of space, really. If I do, I can just redraw this and then make it bigger. And then if I hit description here, a piece of lore about the item pops up. So the first sword is a pretty bad weapon, does 1 damage, is a cooldown of 0.4 seconds. And it has a mana cost of 1, but the mana cost does kind of nothing for this weapon because it's not even a spell, so it's just there. I might have it so that it changes depending on the type of item. So a magic sword of poor quality, although it looks cool, it's effectively like a block of foam. So yeah, there's lore in basically every item in the game, so the light, mana cost 1, cooldown 0.4. Came up with this on the spot, otherwise I would have been wandering in the dark forever. So some of these are from the point of view of this guy. So development sword, damage, whatever that number means, only intended for use as a developer weapon. And of course, it looks crazy. It's like the normal sword, but like swings really quickly. Sword of Lost Hope. 2 damage, 1 mana cost, 1.2 cooldown. Description: a sword like the one which you awoke wielding, yet the magic withholding it is slightly less shoddy. So, slightly better version of the original sword, although it's kind of broken at the moment, so it is probably one of the better weapons of the game. Strange Lamp, damage 4, mana cost 1, cooldown 0.5 seconds. Strange Lamp somehow, although not intended as a weapon, and made of a flimsy material. It's also noticeably large. Okay, this description is not written properly. I most likely did not even read this after I wrote it. I also wrote it way before I added description. So a couple days ago when I was switching the code over from using separate classes for spells and swords into using only the item class, when I was switching it over, I wrote the descriptions and I didn't really read through them that much. They were just like kind of placeholders. Some of these I did think through a lot though. Like, not that one. So some of these unobtainable weapons have kind of humorous dialogue or descriptions. So how do I pronounce that for Subsire? Coaglier is of disgusting material composition and coated in red. Who named this, by the way? So just puns on how impronounceable and weird their names are. Nebula spell shoots out a slow-moving mist that damages enemies and bounces off the ground. So I tried to come up with like a lore reason for why the Nebula spell is so bad it only does 2 damage. And then description, a pocket size, or a description for a small fireball, which does 5 damage, is a cooldown of 1.8 seconds. A pocket-sized fireball spell. Okay, so there's some Z fighting on the spell that I just realized, but I'll probably fix that eventually. So yeah, cool fireball spell. Heal spell, -8 damage because it heals you. Mana cost of 20, cooldown of 5. Huge mana cost, but could save me in a pinch. Okay, that's really loud actually. Magic missile, damage 10, cooldown 3. Whoa, I didn't think myself capable of something like this, not gonna lie. It's quite tiring though. So basically he's talking about the mana cost of the spell and also how cool it is. He didn't think he would reach that level of magic, which of course he hasn't yet because this is a developer only item. Slime spell. This one has a really funny description. The essence of a fragment of a sliver of an atom of a slain god's disowned distant relative's leftover food was absorbed, powering up the spell greatly. Also the gel of a gigantic slime. So it's a slime spell. It's pretty cool. It's like a bouncy ball. Golden dagger. This is new. Does a lot of damage and has some cooldown. So this is what I imagine some later game weapons will look like probably. So just like a quick spell. The visual's a little bit broken, don't mind that. So like as a quick swing, low cooldown, and does a pretty good amount of damage. So I imagine later enemies are probably just gonna have like a couple hundred HP, and then it's gonna like matter a lot more what armor bonuses you get, because I do plan on adding armor. So, and upgrades and stuff to the weapons and armor. An old dagger with a mystery material blade and a golden crossguard. Due to its material choice, the weapon remains in pristine condition while all others rusted and dulled. A close inspection reveals the runes inscribed on the blade itself. So yeah, I do like the way I implemented this. I'm very proud of it and the way it turned out. Yeah, so yeah, it's probably a shorter devlog. I did try reading the stuff to like kind of lengthen it a little bit, but this took like several days of work, but I mean, it works, so that's cool. It was like really it was really exciting when my stuff finally started working after like multiple days of struggling. Oh yeah, I also made some other minor changes when I was switching the game over from using 2 classes for 2 separate classes of items versus just using the item class. And one of them is that you can no longer spawn in duplicate items. This is because there's like no reason right at the moment to have duplicate items. You could still like, if you like turned that off, you could still get duplicate items. But I just really didn't see a reason for them to spawn in at the moment, especially like if you have like 3 nebulous spells because you keep dying on the 2nd level, that becomes annoying at some point because you have to like smash through the spell. It's like less of a problem now that I have a proper inventory, but back when this is the only way, it really was annoying. Yeah, so yeah, none of the items spawn if you're on development mode, or if I'm on development mode, because um, in development mode you just get given everything. So yeah, one of the things I do want to add is like weapon damage variation, like within weapons. Like maybe this gold dagger could do 115 to 145 damage, and then it randomly rolled 131. That's not like added yet, but that is something that I'd be interested in adding. So it's like almost worth getting multiple of an item, and then maybe like a system where you could like sell or salvage items you don't need. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of ideas. I do think that maybe I should just start adding the next level now. Now that I have the inventory added, maybe uh, I should do player animations again soon. So these are like kind of placeholder. I want to chop the player sprite into two, so that the top half can like behave independently, or yeah, so the top half of the sprite can behave independently, and so I could add like a swinging arm animation, while the legs just kind of move normally, which is something I saw on other indie devs like videos, which I forgot which ones. But yeah, also I want to add a normal map so that the game looks a little bit better, like to the player sprite and maybe to some of the background objects in the level. I don't really know how to do that. I mean, I did try to do something like that with the hold on, it's somewhere in here. This I did try to draw the normal map like by myself by hand. So it looks like this. I mean, I don't know if this really worked. Maybe I should try with a bigger object in a level and just see if my normal map was actually like effective. Cause this object is like barely like it just like spawns in and disappears. So maybe normal maps aren't that necessary for like the swords, but for the player and some of the objects in the level, maybe it could make it look a lot better when the lighting situation is more like unique, I guess. It matters a lot more in this first level than it's probably going to when there's like global illumination and like a background sky where things are kind of going to be like illuminated kind of evenly anyways. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is what the project looks like inside of Unity. So, yeah. Um, anyways, that's it for this devlog.